Hi, this is Mike from Business Analytiq, and this is a short video on how to use the My Indexes menu option. My Indexes is the fourth one down, and effectively the My Indexes allows you to combine different data series into a single index, which you might use, for example, for, in this case, I've set one up for elastomers NBR category. So if I click on that as an example, what you will see is that we have one index called elastomer NBR, which is combined of NBR rubber, electricity, and carbon black, in this case from Asian sources. And we indicate a value percentage for each of those to create a weighted average of the overall index. And I'll show you in a moment how I created this. And then the options you have is also to see a weighted average line. So the blue line now is the index, elastomer NBR, which is a weighted average of the NBR, the electricity, and the carbon black. Because the assumption is that the NBR, the electricity, and the carbon black are the key variable cost components to produce elastomer NBR based. So you get a graphical representation of the trends, and you also get the ability then to download the data. So here's a data table, and the best place to download the data is to download it here to indicate the date range that you want to download is for, kind of a from to, and then to indicate the indexes you want to download and export to your local computer. The other options you have here are to filter. So if you type in NBR, you will find that one. That's in case you have a long list of them. Now let's talk a little bit about how to create one of these. So let's imagine a scenario where we want to create an index for beverages. So we would click on the Create button and we would type beverages. Now the currency we want to choose, we can in fact choose any currency. In this case, we will stick with euros, and we'll click on Save. So that will create the header file for beverages. And now we will set up an index for beverages. And the first thing we will add is a benchmark item for orange juice. So here it is, the orange index. And we will say that 5% of the index weight is based on orange juice. Now we have to set the forward option, the averaging option. This is a bigger factor in other parts of the program, but effectively forward option allows you to create a time lag between the actual date of a movement in the orange price and a future date, and the averaging allows you to average a price over a certain period to kind of smooth out bumps in the data. But for my indexes, I often tend to leave these as they are, 0 for forward and 1 for averaging. Then we'll add coffee index, which will make 10%. We'll stick with the forward of 0 and the averaging 1. And if you want to understand more about these dates, look at the video on my benchmarks where they're explained in more detail. And we will add into here tea as well. So we'll add a tea index and we'll make this 10%. So, and if we wanted to add more, we could add more benchmarks by clicking here. Now what you will see is that the value percentages here are 5% and 10% and 10%. They do not have to add it to 100%. The system will adjust accordingly. Out of a total of 25%, it will add 10% and 10% and 5%. So we'll click Save on that, and we've created an index for beverages now. And if we want to have a look what that looks like, we would get a chart like this, where the orange index appropriately is in orange, but that's a coincidence. I've seen a higher increase in recent times, and the tea and coffee have followed each other more closely. And the blue line is the weighted index for the beverages that we've created. Now, if we feel that we didn't get something correct here, and we want to maybe weight it more towards orange juice, we could go back to the index, press the Edit button, and instead of a 5% value, make it 50%, and we save it again. And often when you're setting up an index, there's often some fine-tuning involved. If we now go back to detail, you'll see that the weighted average follows the orange juice line much more closely. And here, of course, you can see the data related to that. And that is really all there is to it. Now there's a beverage index, we can download that and play with it accordingly. That's all there is, but as always, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact any of us at support@businessanalytiq.com, and thank you.